Um, Great. So, like I said, I'm going to go over some updates from the bond bank, but a variety of things. Try to go through those quickly. It's going to be a lot of stuff. I will send the slide deck out as a PDF after the presentation, and it's mostly meant to sort of flag some things that if they are particularly relevant to you, don't hesitate to reach out. Didn't you say something about this thing or that thing? We can go more in depth about it. We're gonna have to kind of go through this stuff kind of quickly to get to the meat of the stuff today. Okay, so we get this question a lot lately. How can the bond bank support renewable energy and energy efficiency projects? There are obviously a lot of federal dollars available for various projects, sort of in this in the energy space in general. We're really excited, especially right now, about a program called RESP through USDA that we've been approved for $40 million from to capitalize a loan program, and we expect to have that up and running in the next couple of months or so. The IRA Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund that is getting a lot of press will also likely make some subsidized loan dollars available, but that's going to take a little bit longer. Probably it looks like several months, maybe a year, that kind of thing. But we expect to be able to make loans in the order of, don't quote me on this, but 2-ish% through the REST program, largely for solar, but a lot of eligible uses. We expect probably solar, storage, and electrification to be kind of the bulk of that, at least at the beginning. And we also got a statutory change that allows us to do a lease structure, so level debt service payments instead of just level principal payments, so that so if it's a part of a project, because it works well with other funding streams, including our pooled loan program. So if you had a big project and a portion of it was energy, we can we can fund that portion of the project, the energy portion, with the RESP dollars, and then fund the rest of it with the pooled loan program. JS, do you have a question?
Yeah, I'm just curious. Municipalities and nonprofits can't monetize tax credits. I wonder if there's any thing you've all thought about to help us do that, to make those solar installations more affordable.
Well, the beauty of the IRA is that municipalities and nonprofits can actually take direct pay now or soon for energy projects. Well, there's a 30% direct pay provision, and then there's some other additional adders that make that could increase that number. But yes, we do actually anticipate either towns being able to take that 30% themselves, or potentially us being able to either take that or help facilitate taking that in some manner, to knock essentially 30% off the cost of the project to make it pencil. There's some questions about duration, what we can do in terms of duration, and that obviously matters for being able to make projects pencil. Right now, there's a restriction on the REST program to 10 years, but the Farm Bill could change that to 20 years. We're sort of getting to the weeds, but we're working on this every day. I'm in conversation with folks trying to figure out how to bring down federal funds to subsidize energy projects, because obviously there are opportunities, and the big challenge in a lot of cases is getting the short-term cover and the short-term upfront costs to be able to generate long-term savings. And the savings are there in the long term. It's just a matter of making them pencil in the short term. But it's things are we're seeing really good opportunities here. We expect through various programs, RESP, GGRF, to be able to meet folks' needs. So I do have a lot more stuff to cover, so unfortunately I'm gonna have to keep cruising through stuff, but I wanted to really flag this for folks to make sure that they're thinking that we can, folks are aware that we're working on this, that we can help with energy finance essentially moving forward. So a lot of people are also asking us about flood response. We are talking with the state treasurer's office about ways we might be able to help folks bridge to FEMA payments. FEMA payments can take years to come in. And in the interim, the best step, it seems to be that the best first step is to take out a CEN, a current expense note, probably from a commercial bank. Um, the sorry, then whoops, I gave away my really fun slide here that I was in there to embarrass Elizabeth. So the uh, the challenge with that though is that those rates are likely to be fairly high for those CENs, those current expense notes from commercial banks, and you might carry that debt for for several years before FEMA comes in with repayments. So we're working on a facility that would allow you that would allow you to take out that CEN, that current expense note, and refinance at maybe 1% or less. To and there's we're aware that folks want to obviously try to avoid going to voters for authorization. So we're looking at structures that will be amenable to that situation. So just to flag that. Let's see. Other things that we do that just in case, since I have your attention, in case you don't know, we host an annual capital planning forum every April. And if you don't know about that, please note that, because it's growing every year. Lots of folks around the state are developing new approaches to that and new capability. And it's really exciting. It's especially important maybe now that we're seeing some effects of climate change and just some severe weather events that are maybe forcing us to think a little bit more long term about how we, and a little different maybe than we have historically, about how we ought to be planning our infrastructure development. Benchmarking, we're happy to help communities with benchmarking, with helping communities figure out kind of how they compare to other communities in terms of debt, and what what levels of debt would be stressful in different ways. And a lot of folks ask how much debt can we get, how much money can we borrow, and it's towns are very different than obviously households, but we have some tools to help you figure that out. So don't hesitate to reach out about that. We've developed a new flexible loan fund. It's pretty small. It's just starting, but sometimes if there's just relatively small dollar loan, in the few $100,000 range, that would be really impactful to your community, that you might be having a hard time finding the right funding stream for, let us know. See, we might be able to figure out something creative. We also have been developing our infrastructure data and a database to. And we want to continue to do that work moving forward. We one of the things that personally is really exciting to me about the bond bank is that we enable investing in Vermont, and this pool actually is pretty exciting. The number of the participation rate of local investors, of Vermont retail investors, is up substantially with this bond issue. And we want to continue to work on continuing to increase that. And so never be shy about reminding folks that we are not just about issuing funds to communities, but also creating a vehicle by which people can invest in Vermont and in our communities. Okay. I don't want to get too far behind here. I want to get to the meat of stuff. But so before I get on to the serious stuff, congratulations. Seriously, I mean, you've really done a lot of work to secure this funding, and it's exciting that we're here. Okay. Sorry, Elizabeth. What can I say? I know she's rolling her eyes at me right now, but I can't help myself. Okay, so Before we get into the details of the notice of closing, just wanted to give you a sense of where the market has been, where it is. On that top left graph, you see the little yellow line. That's the day we priced. So, you know, we priced just before that spike. So the timing wasn't bad. So we got in at some pretty decent rates. These are the effective interest rates here in the bottom right corner. I don't have a 10-year number there because nobody was in for 10 years. But, you know, an 8-year loan effective rate is just over 3%. 20-year loan is effectively, the interest rate on that is effectively 3.8%. And the 30-year loans are just about 4%. So there, you know, there's the new money issuance of $26.6 million in this bond issue, and then another $20.5 million in refundings. Save folks a bunch of money on debt service through the refunding, and that's something we monitor for. Most of you probably know that, and we'll of course do that for these loans moving forward as well. No big changes in the yield curve. Still has that little bit of inversion in the near term. Okay, so I put this in the notice of closing, all this stuff, but just to go over it, make sure you understand what's all in there. There's an authorized representatives form, and here's the link to it. And the person to be in touch with about that is Deb Rucker at US Bank. There's her email address. And the requisition process is many of you have done that before. Hopefully pretty straightforward. You can requisition money as an advance or as a reimbursement. In both cases, they require invoices. If you do have a ban, that you use the requisition form for that as well, and along with instructions from the lender on wiring and payoff date, that kind of thing, payoff amount. So when emailing disbursement agent with requisition forms, turnaround is really quick. I mean, they say a day or so. So if you do have issues, of course, let us know. But we don't generally hear that there are issues. Requisition form is available on our website anytime if you lose track of it. And again, just never hesitate to reach out and say, "Where's that requisition form?" And I'm happy to direct you to it. But notice that note there: an in-house expense tracking report can be substituted for an expense payment summary just to make things easier. So yeah, like I said, those forms are on our website. On that page there, the borrowers page, if you click on the borrowers tab kind of along the top of our webpage and scroll down, you'll see that place where you can download forms and investing loan proceeds. So this is something that you have you have a choice about, basically three options, sort of two options, but technically three. There's a money market fund that you can put those proceeds in, and there's a form there in your notice of closing you can use. And the contact person is David Gantz at US Bank, and there's his email address and phone number. Or you could invest if you have more proceeds and a longer time horizon for some of them. It's possible to there are other options that you can work with him on. You could also do a combination of both, right? Some money could go into a money market fund and some could be invested for the longer time horizon. Compliance, obviously, there's, you're required to comply with tax exempt finance laws. And then this other side of it that we focus on really is notifying us that you are complying with those laws. And so there is a form on our website. I'll show you those in a minute, where you can. It's basically just a checklist and say, "Yep, I kept the forms. I've done the things that we require annually, along with a financial statement." We also require a notice of project completion at the close of the project, and that can be uploaded through the website or just emailed to me. Deborah Rucker also needs a copy. I mean, I can forward it to her if um, you come to that point. You're not sure what to do. Let me know. I can help you through that process. So this is where those forms are. It's what it looks like on the bottom of that borrower reporting page on our site. And there are those sort of three places to click: the certificate of project completion, the annual post issuance compliance, and the financial reporting tab. And each kind of have the forms to download and the place to upload them there. March 1st is when we like to get them. Realize that especially lately, getting audits by March 1st is not always possible. We appreciate it when you can, and maybe if you can let us know, hey, the audit's a little bit behind. Okay, if we can, we'll get it to you when we can, and drafts are helpful so we can get going on our sort of end of compliance, knowing that they're most of the time pretty close to accurate. Okay. Repayment. Oh yeah, Casey.
Yeah, just a quick question, Ken. Are we going to continue to receive the automated email reminders about the post compliance that we get every year that just says it's due?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will certainly try to get those out to you, well in advance of March 1st to let you know.
I just usually count on that email reminder. That's
right.
all. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Understood. Yeah. Well, yeah. If you're opening our emails, then that's a good a good way to stay informed and yeah.
Okay,
So repayment, there are two repayment dates: May 1st and November 1st. May 1 is interest only. November 1 is principal and interest. This November, I think everybody has taken a pass on principal payment this November, so it won't be until the following November that you'll be required to pay principal. Invoices get mailed out from US Bank approximately 40 days prior to the due dates, and then we go ahead and send you courtesy copies electronically as well, just to make sure that you got them. I mean, paper mail is what it is. Want to make sure that you see that. Again, any questions when you get those, don't hesitate to let us know. Something looks funny or whatever. Happy to try to figure it out. Help you understand what the invoice is, why it is. The best way to pay is via ACH. And there are some instructions that I'm not able to give you kind of in a blanket way because they're some specific information for your accounts. Those will be on your first invoice, and we'll make a point to send you those invoices electronically, and make sure you get them and are clear on what the instructions are. And again, if you have any questions, just let us know. We have instituted a late payment fee just recently. It's not meant to be a penalty exactly. Our rating, one of the values of the bond bank for the communities around the state of Vermont is that we are able to pass on an excellent rating and bring down everybody's cost of capital. And so it's important that sort of all of the folks in the pool are paying on time for us to be able to maintain our excellent credit rating. And so it benefits everybody when everybody pays on time. So just think we think it's hopefully just a little bit of encouragement to make sure folks are getting payment in on time. Another sort of valuable tool for folks are the schedules that we make available online. You can you ought to always be able to find your schedule for repayment through our website. There are these graphics show you where you can find them on our homepage. If you go to loan databases and then either pooled loan program in this case, or the state revolving loan fund program, if that's what you're looking for. And then if you type in the obligor name in that field that I've circled and used Corinth as an example, you ought to be able to find your loans with us. And right there, you'll see that one at the bottom to Corinth. It's loan ID 672. When to get your schedule, it's a little bit tricky for folks who haven't spent time with this. And I can walk you through this. If you say, I'm having a hard time finding the kind of the schedule I want and getting to look the way I want, I can help you with this. But basically, you click the little box on the left side and click See Schedules. Then you have an opportunity to see the schedules in different forms. I think the best way, most of the time, folks want to see the whole thing with all the total debt service, but also broken out with principal and interest, and by date as opposed to annually. So I think the best thing often for folks to click net debt service, then view summary, then when they look at the schedules, they look like this. The one on the top is the annual debt service, and then when you scroll down the page, you'll see below it a debt service schedule that has the May and November payments broken out, and the principal and interest for each time. And that's usually, and you can export them to Excel from the website if you like. So Elizabeth, do you want to go over this one?
Yeah, sure. So hi, everybody. I am Elizabeth King, and I get the pleasure of talking to you about all of the timeline and post-issuance compliance. So Ken did a great job of pointing you to where things are and when they're due. But this part, so your project account timeline, there's this term arbitrage. I don't completely understand all of the calculations behind it, but we pay a financial advisor to do these calculations for us. But the purpose of this is to illustrate that you've borrowed the money now and there's a time horizon for your project. And it may go past 5 years, but this is to show you that for years 1 through 3, this is an exempt period. Filling out that investment form, your holdings they default to cash with no interest earnings. In this market, you're going to want to pick something else so that you can capitalize on the interest. And then years 4 and 5, there's a yield restriction. Again, it's going to be a complicated calculation. I can't exactly tell you what it's going to be, but it's based off the bond yield. And then after years 5, on the anniversary date, we have to do an arbitrage calculation, including your project accounts, to see what you've earned. And then the IRS, these are tax exempt dollars, and so they don't want you earning too much money off of that. So then we have to rebate it back to them. So within the post-issuance compliance form, there is a slight change that has been put into the website. So you'll now certify the account balances annually to show if all the proceeds have been used. And then if all the proceeds haven't been used, like at year 5, we need an explanation as to why and what your plans are to spend those funds. And so here, the project completion certificate. So the importance of that is if there are some remaining funds, there is a part on that that will say that the funds will be used for the principal payment at the next 12/1 payment date. And so your invoice would reflect that, and you'd have a slightly lower payment due for that date.
I have some things to add too about about what you can do with unspent proceeds too. I was going to go over that a little bit in the next couple of slides, Elizabeth.
Okay. Yeah, the only thing I wanted to add to Ken's presentation so far is that the default for your project proceeds is cash. So consider that when filling out the investment form. And then these late fees, we don't want to penalize anybody. It's more of a pushing people towards ACH, just understanding that there isn't the like put it in the mail as of 5/1. It has to be received as of May 1st so that we can do all our calculations and make sure that we're going to be able to do our bond payments on time. And then he did point you to the website for your schedules. I am currently fighting with the upload to get your current schedules updated, but they should be up there in the next 2 days.
Okay, thanks, Elizabeth. So Elizabeth mentioned unspent proceeds at the close of a project. You have some different options for that. The best option is to use them on the project some way, and you can use some of the proceeds for working capital up to 5% of the loan. Option two, other authorized projects, you can apply the funds to those as long as they have a useful life, at least as long as the original project. They'll also be, those funds are also, they're tax exempt funds. So those other projects then would also have to be eligible for tax exempt funding. And then would need a council's opinion to apply those funds to that project as well, that it is also tax exempt. Option three, this is what Elizabeth was talking about. If there are no other eligible capital expenses, then you can apply them to the principal by written direction of the disbursement agent. And there are two different forms. Sorry, it's a little complicated, but if you have $200 left in your funds and you have more than that in principal payment coming up, you can just apply all of those funds with one form. That's like a final disbursement form, and that's really great. That's pretty clean. But if you have more than is due in the next principal payment, you want to apply them that way or another way, then you requisition them basically, because you're not closing out the account. But again, don't hesitate. Call me, write me. So we have some unspent proceeds. The most important thing, we want you to be aware of unspent proceeds and be thinking about how you can use them, and be talking to us about what your options are and how you can do it. We look for opportunities. We monitor for refunding opportunities, and this series will be callable in 8 years, in October 2031. And we will presumably at that point, depending on what the market is like, notify you about a plan to refund. But those of you who will still have outstanding loans at that point, actually there are a couple that will be matured by then. But the way we schedule that savings is not by issuing a new loan, but by issuing rebates to allow you to realize the effective savings. And so they'll look like this on your schedules, and so it's it saves a lot on the cost if we don't have to issue a new loan, but are able to just help you realize savings through rebates. Let's see. So, I mean, that's all I've got. Our contact information is here. Like I said, I will send you the slide deck as PDFs. But I also, obviously wanted to I was trying to cram stuff into half an hour to kind of be mindful of your time. And so if folks want to head off and continue on with your day, you're welcome to. If you want to hang out and ask some questions, whatever, that would be fine too. I'm happy to answer questions or hear your thoughts, concerns, whatever, about flood response stuff, about whatever stuff.